with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Thursday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. Hope you enjoy the warmth of today. It's by the time we get to the weekend. I think I saw a high of 51 on Sunday. Is that true, Jared?
Yeah, I think so.
Does Mother Nature
That's
not realize it's almost May?
Yeah, it's actually gone down. But with that comes more.
Gone down from 51?
No, it was actually like 56. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
And I say it's gone down since I've seen it.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's 51's new to me. But with that, we got rain chances. Pretty good rain chances next week.
Next week, it looks good.
April showers. I'll take them.
Bring May flowers.
I'd say anywhere, what I saw this morning, 3 to 4 inches in parts,
That would be
if we're lucky.
would that not
I'm
be
stressing if we're lucky, but I'll take anything we can get.
Yeah, now I'm seeing a high of 50 on Sunday.
Goodness gracious.
80% chance of rain.
On Sunday?
80 on Sunday, 50 on Monday, 60 on Tuesday, 50 on Wednesday. That's according to my
You
phone.
sure you're not looking at Seattle's forecast?
I'm looking at Sayre, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Augusta, you wonder about Augusta, Georgia? Got that pulled up. Always have that
Yeah,
this time of year.
I do that too.
I've also got Ardmore from last week. Yeah, here at Elk City, 80, 50, 60, 50. Chances of rain. High of 49 on Sunday. 49 and raining is not ideal baseball watching weather.
Or softball practicing weather. Ugh.
It's what I'm supposed to be doing. 74 today, 71 Friday, which is tomorrow. And then a cool off. But if it comes with the rain, it'll be much appreciated. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
You better agree. People
Absolutely.
on you want to see the text line fired up.
Why wouldn't I agree with that? Absolutely.
I missed this yesterday. I just saw on the text line pop up. My Tucker family beef is the freaking 40 mile an hour wind every day. I agree. I just told Wyatt today going to school. I was like, man, I'm so ready for that wind, the wind to quit blowing. I thought it was wasn't it March winds bring April showers? April showers bring May flowers. That's the old little jingle.
I saw a thing where somebody rebuttal to people complaining about the wind. They start singing the state song.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes.
It's like it's the first
down
line of the
plain,
song. It's
yeah.
the first line. We should be used to it.
Yeah, I know, but it still doesn't make it any
No.
more cool.
Now it's out of the north.
Yeah, at least it's gonna cool you off.
Now it's out of the north. Yeah.
All right, so coming up on the show today, we're finally going to get to the Kuiper McShay 3-round mock draft. We'll hit that. I've got a few questions about that. ESPN's top 25, the FPI was yesterday. Got some questions about that. NBA playoffs from last night. Some interesting stats that come along with a couple of those games last night where Memphis and Milwaukee win without their stars. And some more fallout from, this Draymond Green suspension thing. It's starting to seem, as some details start to filter out here, it's starting to seem as if maybe Sacramento is playing games with what's going on here. One specific reason, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things or whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, you can stay in touch with the show a couple of ways. You can log on to kadsam.com. You can download the app. The app's got it all. It's got radio. It's got the Penny News. It's got Big Elk and Paragon TV. And also, it's outside the app. The Skinny on Sports podcast can be found anywhere and everywhere podcasts drop. So if you missed the show entirely, you can go back and check us out at your leisure. What's going on, Jared?
Not a lot. How's your morning so far?
Oh, it's fine. It's a little chillier than I had expected when I walked out of the garage to get in the car, come this way. But I think it's going to be a nice day, a little bit breezy. But I think I remember even yesterday reading the weather that today those north winds start out, they're going to diminish as the day moved on. At least that was the forecast yesterday, that by the afternoon they would be kind of down in that 10 to 15 range, which 75 degrees and 10-mile-an-hour north wind, that's a pretty nice day for spring in Oklahoma. I have a question for you.
Sunshine, yeah. What's up?
I have a question for you. So last night, we enjoyed some Tucker family beef. We did not, I repeat, did not put it out on the grill because of the fire, the red flag warning. So
Yeah.
we had to cook we cooked hamburger.
By the way, I saw that picture. Looked
steak.
good.
It was good. Did you
It
notice?
looked 99% good.
Did you notice
Could
how?
have used a better plate. Go ahead.
Well, that's just kind of the one we got. Did you notice how uniform the patties were?
Yeah. No, tell me about this. It looked like they were rolled up like a cinnamon roll. How did you make those patties?
Okay, Wyatt did it. It turns out at one point in life he had seen on the Food Channel like using like a ring mold to make them uniform, like on Triple D. So we actually bought this thing that you just kind of press it down, and it's got little.
Yeah.
It had little ridges
Oh,
running around. So that was like the spiral look to that.
gotcha.
Yeah, it was just pressing those down. But I mean,
Does that help with the cooking process?
well, in theory, it ought to because they're all the same size.
Well, I meant like the spiral, the ridges.
Oh
that
no.
were-
That
doesn't-
shouldn't. No.
Doesn't help anything.
The only thing I always do is right in the middle of the patty, press your thumb down
Yeah,
to make a little well.
heard
That
of that
way it
trick.
doesn't bubble up
Sure.
and look like a
Look
a
like
dunce
a-
hat or something.
Yeah,
Have a little top to it,
yeah.
like a muffin almost, like a muffin top. So it keeps it. But anyhow, no, they all seem to be cooked almost the exact same way, like doneness, because they were so uniform. So that was delicious. And then afterwards, a couple weekends ago, there was the alumni weekend in Sayre. There's always a parade, which parade means one thing to me, Jared: candy. So we've got our candy bowl pretty full right now.
Street candy.
Yeah. And I was kind of thumbing through it, and the stars of the show have long since been eaten. And to me, those things are, like the Snickers and the Reese's and, the chocolate items. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of down to some different things. But there's one of those things that I think a lot of people would push to the back. And I actually wrote down two. But one in particular that there was still a couple left. And I was like, yes. And then I got to thinking to myself, I'm going to ask Jared about this. Because I believe that one of these things may be one of the most underrated candies on the market right now.
Okay.
So my question to you, Jared Atha, is what candies do you think are the most underrated candies?
Good question. Because I got a lot of go-to candies that are popular.
Yeah, I think we've had the
you
discussion
know-
of what the best, our favorites are.
Right.
A top 5 list. But what about the underrated candies?
Maybe I'm a big gummies fan. Outside of the chocolates with the, Reese's peanut butter cups, Kit Kats. By the way, it's that time of year I've been looking for my key lime pie Kit Kats. I can't find them anywhere. Might have to do what my wife did for Father's Day last year. She went online and bought me a
bought some.
box. Those didn't last long.
I've seen the blueberry pie one or blueberry muffin ones.
Yeah, I've seen those.
There's a bunch of different kinds.
Those specialty flavors. Sometimes you don't get it right with. So maybe I'm answering here. You don't get it right with those specialty flavors of your favorite candy. Like people are like,
Yeah.
no. It's like New Coke. Remember that? People are like, oh, don't mess with Coke.
Like, for
Don't
instance,
change the recipe.
this happened to me just this week, and I'm a little bit disappointed that you didn't stop me. So on Monday, when we left Sayre National, I went over and got a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a Dr. Pepper.
What'd you get?
I got a Dr. Pepper Zero, unbeknownst to me.
Oh.
I cracked it open, couldn't wait to taste the delicious 23 flavors of the Dr. Pepper.
You got 0 flavors? What'd you get?
I turned out of the parking lot and I took a drink and I was like,
This tastes weird.
man, there's something wrong with this Dr. Pepper. Do I have COVID? That's not what I thought, but I thought, man, this tastes weird. And I was like, what in the world? And I looked on the can, I'm like, 0.
Oh, no.
Like, oh, no. Turns out the sugar makes the Dr. Pepper. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. But they got it right on the cream soda, the Dr. Pepper cream soda.
Oh, you know, I got one of those in my fridge. I'll bring it to you because I accidentally grabbed one of those.
You don't like it?
And I didn't even open it. I looked like, oh, man, this isn't
Listen,
what I wanted.
it is a match made in heaven.
Okay.
You
I'll bring it to you.
You better have it yourself. But they've also got a strawberry one now, and I haven't tried it yet. I don't know about that. But anyhow, go ahead. Underrated candies.
Maybe. So back to my gummies route here. I like Twizzlers. I've always loved Twizzlers.
Oh.
I don't see people rave about Twizzlers.
There's a reason.
Okay, see.
The black ones?
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
Strawberry, cherry. You know, when I go to the movies, I'm usually grabbing those instead of popcorn.
Gotcha.
So Twizzlers.
They're trash.
That was quick.
All right, Twizzlers.
That was a quick response on the text line.
Yeah.
See, there you go. That's why they're under. See, people already think they're trash, and I like them. I think they're. I can go through a bag of those pretty quick.
See, I had one written down in the gummy category, but I didn't know if they would be underrated. And that is the Sour Patch Kid. How is that rated?
I like Sour Patch Kids.
I mean, I really like Sour Patch Kids.
I'm not jumping, across the counter to get them, but if they're there, I'll eat them. I like sour, but
It's got the sour, then it turns sweet.
Sour is like a. I can't keep eating sour after sour. I like
Right.
that. It's like a shot. You do. Just give me one of them.
Okay. See, at first
You're not
I was
taking shot after
when,
shot.
when you said that, I thought, how is eating a Sour Patch Kid like getting a shot in your arm? And then I realized you were talking about liquor.
Yeah.
I got you.
Like, okay, give me one.
got it.
Okay.
Twist
Oh,
my
this
arm.
is good, but I don't want another.
Twist my arm.
So
Is the
Sour
tequila
Patch-
cold or not?
So Sour Patch Kids, is that your answer?
I took it off because I was afraid they were too
okay.
highly rated.
Gotcha. So what is it? What's your underrated?
Mine, and it's an iconic one, but I think it's fallen by the wayside in recent years. Tootsie Rolls. I love Tootsie Rolls, but you would never ever go out and get a bag of Tootsie Rolls.
Right.
You would never buy that. If you went into
You're not going into the Quick Stop.
you're not going into Quick Stop and buying Tootsie Rolls.
looking for the Tootsie Rolls.
No, I'm not. I don't know that I've ever bought a Tootsie Roll. The only time I've had Tootsie Rolls is like after a parade.
After a parade, or you're digging through your kids'
Yes.
Halloween candy.
It's right. Halloween or parades.
Because they more or less anymore, you only find them in those variety bags.
I'm not a big fan of the
aren't-
flavors.
Oh no, it has to be chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate ones. And you know what? And I think I like the long skinny ones better than the short chubbier ones.
The little stubby ones.
Yeah.
I don't like those real big ones.
Oh,
Those big,
that come in they got a little
little
cardboard
boat thing.
Yes, yeah. I'm not
That's
sure.
too
but
much.
It is because it feels like those long, skinnier ones. It's just the right amount. Another one that I noticed, the Tootsie Rolls, and then also not banana Laffy Taffies. I don't like the banana. It's weird too because Jimmy brought some taffy that was banana in the bowl in there in Gabe's office. I actually like those, but I think once again it's the Tootsie or the Laffy Taffy banana was too much.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Text line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not repeating that.
I got it. That's funny. But anyhow, I'm a big Tootsie Roll guy. I enjoy the Tootsie Rolls. And I think it's just because you don't eat it very often. Now we're getting talk some sports. We will. All right, NBA playoffs last night. If I'd have told you yesterday that Milwaukee and Memphis, neither would have their star player, would you have said, oh, that's okay, they'll both win and even the series up at 1-1?
I would say maybe one of them would. That being Milwaukee, actually. Because, I mean, yes, the Lakers are playing well, but I didn't, I keep waiting for those wheels to fall off, every once in a while. But I think Milwaukee has a lot of pieces around him. Lopez especially had a good night. So I would have said one of them would. But for both of them, too, that's pretty impressive.
No doubt. In must-win situations, you don't want to go down 0-2 heading on the road in those two series. How about this, though? Pretty interesting stats on both sides. So last night, Milwaukee put up 138 without Giannis. That's the most points scored in a playoff game by a team that was missing their leading scorer from the regular season in NBA history. So obviously Giannis led Milwaukee in scoring in the regular season. They put up 138 without him. That's the most ever in a playoff game. And then on the other side with Memphis, even in their series against the Lakers, Memphis is 33-17 without Ja Morant over the last couple of seasons. Does that say anything about him?
Maybe that's kind of scary because it kind of shows Memphis that he is expendable. If the cracks in his play or his stuff off court comes to light again or becomes a problem again, like, you know what? We're good without you, Ja.
I wonder if it shows them. See, to me, it tells me if they can get him right, adding him in there, they've obviously got some better pieces around him than people realize.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson named the Defensive Player of the Year yesterday. Desmond Bane has kind of come out of nowhere from TCU to being a really good player in this league. They got the Tillman guy last night that went for a double-double, and nobody even heard his name before the game. And then Dylan Brooks is such an enigma. He can be great or he can be terrible. But I if it was me and I was a Memphis fan, I would just be thinking more of the what if. What if he could be out here, get him right, and be the player? Because we know he's a superstar in the making with the things that he can do on the floor. He's just got to kind of figure it out and grow up a little bit off it so that he can be on the floor for the amount of games that he needs to be.
It puts Memphis in such a good spot when it comes to off-season wheeling and dealing, pre-trade deadline wheeling and dealing, because they could show, listen, this guy was really good when Ja was off the court. What do you want for him?
Maybe make an upgrade in some certain ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, they can really press the issue of, hey, we're not going to let this guy go for nothing for peanuts. This guy did this for us when Ja was off. Look at these numbers. They're good. And so it really puts them in a win-win situation when they're good without Ja Morant.
And
then the potential that you talk about with Ja Morant.
All 5 in double figures. Xavier Tillman, the guy, 10 of 13, 22 points, 13 rebounds. He was just a monster on the offensive glass late. Seemed like he grabbed a couple of really key there to that next to last possession with like 2 minutes left. Memphis is up 10. They miss. He gets a rebound, kicks it out. Brooks shoots a three he never should shoot, but he makes it. Then the next time down, he gets like 2 offensive rebounds. Jaren Jackson gets one, and they run a minute 10 off the clock, and the game's essentially over from there. So Memphis does a really nice job without Ja to even it up. I think on the other side for Milwaukee, they do have we know that they have guys outside of just Giannis. Now, this is talking about beating Miami in Game 2, not winning the whole thing. I don't think anybody's silly enough to think that that Milwaukee can win a title without Giannis Antetokounmpo. But in a 1-game or 2-game stretch here against a Miami team that, oh, by the way, doesn't have Tyler Hero, I think that's they're more than capable with the guys you mentioned. With Lopez, obviously Drew Holiday was good last night. Off the bench, Connaughton and Ingles combined to make 11 of 16 threes. When you're getting 39 off of those two guys from the bench, yeah, you might put up a whole bunch of points. And so I think as far as being able to win this series, if it was, an extended period of time for either one of these two teams without their star. Obviously, to me, Milwaukee, not only who they're playing, but also what they've got around Giannis is in better shape to be able to move on without. But at some point here, we're going to need both of those teams are going to need their guys to be out there. Also, Denver, man, it looked like they were going to blow Minnesota absolutely out of Colorado to start that game, and then Minnesota actually came back and took a lead in the fourth quarter. Denver pulls away 122-113. They're now up 2-0. How about this? Last night was the Joker's 50th career playoff game. I got this from ESPN Sports and Info, or Stats and Info, I mean. Nikola Jokic, through 50 career playoff games, is the first player in NBA history to average 25, 10, and 5. 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Nobody has ever done that through their first 50 playoff games. It's pretty incredible.
That is incredible.
To be the only guy to ever do something, good or bad.
Yeah.
On the bad side, Russell, what's his first name for the Lakers? Just went right out of my head. D'Angelo Russell, yes. He is trying to catch DeMar DeRozan in futility. He went 2 of 11 last night. That's now 13 straight playoff games to start his career where he has not shot 50% for the field. DeMar DeRozan owns that record with first 25. So D'Angelo on the track to try to break a record that you don't really want to know. Tonight, what's going on here, Jared?
What, tonight?
With the schedule.
The NBA schedule?
Why in the world do we have a 9 o'clock TNT game between Sacramento and Golden State and then a 9:30 NBA TV game between Phoenix and the Clippers? What is happening here? Why is this happening?
Is that the only two tonight?
There's Phoenix and Brooklyn at 6:30. I mean, on the East Coast.
Phoenix and Brooklyn.
I'm sorry, Philly and Brooklyn.
Philly and Brooklyn. Right. At 6, you say?
6:30.
6:30.
6:30 TNT, and then the Sacramento Golden State is the 9 o'clock TNT, which that makes sense. That's the way those always roll.
Back to back, right.
But then NBA TV has got 9:30 Phoenix and the Clips.
Oh,
why?
Goodness. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm not watching.
Well, I just don't understand why they're on at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the only two series anybody really wants to watch.
Well, I mean, you can't play it at 6 o'clock our time or 6:30 our time, either one of those, because what time would it be on the West Coast?
Yeah, 4.
4. Well,
if you started at 7, it'd be 5 o'clock. But if you started at 8, it would be 6 o'clock. Why not put why can't the NBA TV game be at 8 o'clock? Because you would think that the NBA would have more control over that. Mm-hmm. I get, okay, TNT has their times, but Phoenix and the Clippers could start at 8, play a whole hour, and I mean, they'd be in the second half, or at least halftime by the time the other one tipped off. Then you kind of got it staggered a little bit more like what we see with the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Where you can watch the important parts of this one and then catch up to the other one.
Right.
When it gets kind of down to that time. So I do not get this. Why that they're stacked up the way that is. Last thing, did you see the injury report from Sacramento?
No.
So yesterday morning, Domas Sabonis is doubtful with chest contusion.
So you think they're
90 minutes after word of the suspension of Draymond Green came out, all of a sudden he's day-to-day. So do you think that Sacramento, in a weird way, kind of helped that suspension along?
Like, okay, list him as
we might
doubtful.
Lose him. We're not going to have our guy forget
because of Draymond's action. List him as doubtful. Oh, he's suspended. Oh, he's
going to be able.
Wait, let's upgrade him.
What a turnaround! He's going to be able to play. I thought that was.
Meanwhile, the hockey player is playing with 75+ stitches on his face.
Man, I watched some hockey last night.
I watched a little bit of Edmonton. Yeah,
I watched some Stars, and then I watched a little Edmonton and watched a little Bruins.
Listen, Boston, you got to beat them if you want to win this whole thing. They're good. A lot of people, though, picked Edmonton to be in the finals.
Yeah, this is great because Scott is the chest contusion from the chest bump that he gave after they got Draymond kicked out of the game. saw a bunch
So
of that
they
on.
pounding his chest.
I
like-
saw
yeah. Right.
big time chest bump after Draymond got kicked out. I thought that was pretty funny. The people, the Warriors. Listen, hey Warriors fans, did any of you ever play sports? Is this just such a bandwagon of computer nerds because they're out in Silicon Valley? Some of the conspiracies they can come up with are off the charts. I'm gonna have to rid my Twitter feed of Warrior fan if it wasn't so damn funny to laugh at them. God.
Bandwagon, yes.
I mean, you would think.
I remember a time where the Warriors were horrible, and it wasn't that long ago.
This is the first time ever that the Kings and the Warriors
Yeah.
not only have played in the playoffs, been in the playoffs at the same time.
I didn't know Sacramento had that many fans to pack their stadium.
They don't.
arena.
They just got a bunch of people that hate the Warriors. Attention, all parents of high school seniors. Attention. We are doing a KECO senior photo showcase. So parents, if you want to show off those senior pics of your awesome senior or brag on your photographer this year, upload a few of the coolest shots to KECOFM.com. That's our website. And after graduation, we'll choose the most creative picture of all those entries, and the winner will get a free steak dinner at Simon's Catch. Go to KECOFM, click on the link to upload your pics. Now, here's my question. Is this now or before? You know how you always see the senior video?
Oh, yeah, it's like the baby pictures.
yes.
Yeah. I'm looking at them right now. It looks like a bunch of senior pics. Like their
actual senior pics.
senior pictures.
So if you went out to a cool spot or used some neat props, so your actual senior photos that
There's
you
some pretty
passed
good
out
ones
to your
here.
grandparents.
Looking at them here, there's one. The kid's gonna be mad at their parents for this one.
Okay.
Looks like he's wearing a prom dress.
Oh darn. Well, maybe the kid won't be mad because he's doing it on purpose.
Whatever. And there's some senior pics and stuff. I'm recognizing some of these kids.
Very good.
I recognize one of them.
Here's a question I have for you, Jared. Now your kids are young, as is mine. Mm-hmm. Are you already in the process of, like, if you happen to look at pictures, like keeping some of them in your mind, like, ooh, that one will embarrass Katie when she becomes a senior?
Maybe. I know Mama is already she's actually starting to print some off and stash them.
Yeah.
She's really good, though, not on the embarrassing side, but, with her friends, whether it be on the basketball court or softball field or whatever, thinking, okay, come senior year, let's redo this picture, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I can, the embarrassing stuff, sure. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
It's always funny to watch
What's
those.
so great about technology these days?
Oh.
Everything's so digital. You can just, put it on the cloud or save it, on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, you don't have to go looking around the house going, where did I put that Polaroid?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always cool to see, because some of those, when you see that video, as soon as you see the very first picture, you're like, oh, that's so-and-so.
Right.
They haven't changed much since they were 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then others, it's like, golly, who in the heck is that?
Yeah.
And then, oh, no way. I'll be darned. Are we sure that's not a picture of their brother or their sister? And they got those mixed up? I've actually got one in mind that I guarantee you will be easy to spot in the Elk City senior class this year. I guarantee you, as soon as the first picture of her pops up, you're going to go, up. And it's Abby Jo because of her curly hair. Guarantee if she does, she will be easy to recognize.
Yeah.
When you see those pics of her as a kid.
Very
that's
good.
cool. KECOFM.com. Upload the pics on the website.
Right there on the front page. Can't miss
right there. All right, the FPI in college football was released this week by the folks at ESPN. They have the simulation, and they go pretty in depth with returning talent. They use what's coming in with the recruiting classes and how those ranked and schedule, and they have a lot of different criteria where they make this stuff up.
Portal, I'm sure.
Yeah, portal
guys.
Yeah, just
who's on the team now.
Yeah, they actually use the roster instead of just kind of guessing. And so they spit it all in, or they put it all in, and it spits out a ranking. Have you seen this? Are you surprised?
I saw it.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty number 1 is Ohio State. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at their win totals, and then when you also look at their percentages to make the playoffs, those 3 are clearly in a tier by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
In that they give Ohio State an 82.2% chance to make the playoff, Alabama 62, Georgia 63, and then it goes all the way down. The next highest is Texas at 34. So, I mean, that's a huge difference in the top 3 down to number 4. Do you think there really is that much separation between those 3 and everybody else?
Yeah, in fact, I'm a little shocked that Georgia's not 1 or 2. Do they look at schedule?
Oh, yeah.
Their schedule appears to be so light.
Georgia's, again, I remember that last year it wasn't very good.
Now, again, coming up, that's what people immediately went to. They looked at their schedule and go, oh, my goodness, who's going to beat them this year or this coming year, next season? But they have them at 3, and, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But I totally agree. Those top 3 are the cream of the crop, and then it's everybody else.
Golly.
And on here is
it is weak. UT Martin, Ball State, UAB, and Georgia Tech is the non-conference.
Yeah.
Their crossover to the west at Auburn, which it always is. That's a huge rivalry. And then Ole Miss at home. You miss Alabama. You miss LSU. At Tennessee. Wait a minute. No, that game was at Georgia last year. Okay. At Tennessee.
Maybe.
The host, Florida. Is that going to home and home yet? I think they're going to end the cocktail party at some point. Yeah. South Carolina's at home. Boy, that. Just looking at schedule. Now, they lose quarterback. They always, they lose different things. I think it's a little bit of a slap in the face to have them at 3 myself. I'm not one of
as being defending champs. Or
I'm not one of those guys that says just because you're the defending champ, you get to be number 1. They're also 2-time defending champs, and that schedule.
Right. That's why I thought at least 2. Bama's kind of in the same boat. They got to replace the quarterback. I haven't seen their schedule, but
it seems like they have a decent.
But there's always going to be that respect for Bama as long as Saban's there.
Oh yeah, of course they have it.
It's gonna be there, and then on this FPI, just kind of diving into it. Number 4 is LSU. Then there's Texas at number 5. So why Texas has the fourth best chance making the conference or the playoffs, because I think they are leaning on those top 3. You don't want to put a third LSU or a SEC team. I think that's top 2. Alabama, Georgia will kind of knock LSU out. And I think I've seen this somewhere where the Big 12 has the third best chance to get a team in.
Well, that's why they're there.
In Texas, a lot of people are picking Texas to win the Big 12. So that's why they're there.
I actually think that Michigan's getting a little bit of the raw end of the deal here. I mean, they've won the Big Ten 2 years in a row. And it's looked just like this both years, where Ohio State was the runaway favorite to win the conference. This year it's 71% down to Michigan 14%.
And then here comes
that game's at Michigan this year too.
Fighting Harbaughs. He's kind of figured Ohio State out.
It might be the best team he's had too, talent-wise. So that's why I don't put those 3 because of Michigan in that conference with Ohio State. Michigan's pretty good, and they have that game at home. Are you surprised that Texas is the next team and it's not USC or Clemson?
No, I'm not. There's always that hype of Texas. But I think this year it might be a little merited. I think there might be some meat behind that bone.
That's my question. That's the next question I have written down. Is it time to believe the Longhorn hype?
Everyone likes to poke fun at them and all that, but they do. I know they lose Robinson, but they get back worthy. Ewers in year 2 of actually playing. I think he could be better. He showed some signs last year of being good. He made some mistakes, but overall he's a solid quarterback. I think he could be better than what he was last year. So I think all the pieces are there for them to maybe take that next step and make a run at the conference title at least.
Pretty crazy what we saw from him in the Big 12 portion of the schedule versus what we saw from him in limited action before he got knocked out of that Bama game. Because I think a lot of people walking out of that Bama game thought, one, if he doesn't get hurt, Texas wins that game. And then two, this guy is ready to kind of take the leap. And that's not what we saw. He was incredibly inconsistent and downright bad. I mean, up in Stillwater, he was downright bad.
Yeah.
But it was almost a microcosm because in the first half he was great. But was it him or just kind of throwing it out in the flat and watching dudes make plays? Sure. Then in the second half, when they Oklahoma State's defense adjusted, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
If Texas wants to take that next step, Ewers has to play better. He has to, and I think he has the potential to do that in the second year. And kudos to Sarkisian for having the cojones to immediately come out and say, "There's no quarterback battle. He's our guy after the spring game. He's QB1." So there's not going to be that floating around him through fall camp for a quarterback battle. He's already put that to rest. So that kind of shows stability in the program as they move through fall camp going into the start of the season.
Somebody else is going to have to, you mentioned without Robinson, and also Roschon Johnson. So at the running back spot, but they've got a bunch of guys. Brooks looked good at times. Keelan Robinson came from Alabama. He looked good at times. So it feels like they've got bullets in the gun there to replace. Maybe not all the way to that level, but at least with yours taking a step, a good enough replacement for Bijan to make things work. Here's my question. If you're not going to pick Texas to win the Big 12, who are you going to pick? It seems like a perfect year for them because they do have a returning quarterback. No one's ever going to pick K-State to win the conference. They're just not, no matter what.
There are a lot of people's darlings, but no one's
ever going to pick them to win it.
No.
And so who's left? Oklahoma, after what we saw last year, who really is going to put their neck on the line for that OU team? Even though it can be, I think it can be argued pretty well, no matter what OU fans say, that Oklahoma has the best returning quarterback in the conference with Gabriel. I think that argument can easily be made, even ahead of Ewers. But where is that defense?
Statistically, he was.
Yeah. Where's the defense?
Yeah.
Where are the playmakers for Gabriel? You're relying a whole bunch on Drake Stoops and Jaleel Farouk to take a huge step. Farouk that way, or some of those young guys that supposedly
Stogner
have. Yeah, and then you got Stogner.
See if that connection works between those two.
Mm-hmm. And an offensive line that did pretty well. I considered it was almost a brand new group against Florida State there in that bowl game. Rushed the ball well, obviously, with the running backs. There's some things
that gave you hope moving forward.
But it's all defense. But it's all about the defense.
That's the thing.
For OU.
They stacked up on edge rush. Almost to the point I'm questioning a local guy's starting position. But I think there'll be a lot of rotation there. But, can they apply pressure, consistent pressure on the quarterback? It starts at the edge rush, is what Venables loves to do. I'm not pulling the trigger on him. I'm not convinced to do any kind of preseason picking of them at the very I was thinking about that actually last night, getting ready for bed. Where would I pick OU right now? And it would be about middle of the Big 12 right now.
No way. No
right
way.
Now.
There's no way. If that's true.
I'm not convinced they can beat Kansas State. Texas, I'm not.
They don't play Kansas State.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the new scheduling.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, they got like a Georgia-like schedule.
It's a terrible schedule.
I still got the bitter taste of a 6-7 season in my mouth.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't go 9-3 against this schedule, then maybe write a letter behind the scenes to the SEC and beg them to give us give OU another year in the Big 12 or another two, or maybe just thanks but no thanks, because the schedule is Charmin soft. Arkansas State, SMU at home, at Tulsa, at Cincinnati, which most people think will dip because Fickle's gone.
They're having a Lincoln Riley effect over there. Everyone's left them after the coach left.
Iowa State at home, which Iowa State was down. I mean, if Oklahoma isn't 5-0 going into the Texas game, there's a major problem. Major problem. Because coming out of the Texas game, they're going to have 2 losses in the first 5 games or 6 games. And then here
I'm counting them out loud. 1, 2.
Texas is the 6th game.
I'm trying to count. I'm just going down looking at the losses. Potential losses. No way they can lose at Cincinnati.
I mean,
With
there's
what
a
we
way.
just said.
There shouldn't be a way, but there's a way.
There's those little potholes or landmines in this schedule. Like the Cincinnati game. It's the first Big 12 game for them. So there's that. I'm sure it's going to be at night and the fans are going to be going crazy. Iowa State's always an issue. Down or not, it just feels like they're always an issue. Central Florida, what do we know about them? At Stillwater. You know, they're chopping at the bit to beat OU the last time.
So what about them? I mean, Oklahoma State, who's playing?
Yeah.
You're losing ETN this week on the offensive line. That's an interesting way that Gundy put that. That, firing it out there that apparently he thinks he got beat out. I've never really heard a coach say that. Do we believe that, or is it just normally when that happens, you know it, but you kind of say, yeah, we wish the kid good luck. He did good things for us here, yada, yada, yada. Said he just flat out came out and said, yeah, he feels like he got beat out for that spot. Well, if that's true, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I think there's 2 units in the state of Oklahoma where if it's not the same guys playing, you might ought to feel better about it, and that's Oklahoma State's offensive line, and that's the secondary at OU. How many more years do we need to see these guys at OU in the secondary not be able to cover anybody before you go, gosh, dang, who in the heck are we recruiting? What is going on back there? I mean, I've been the biggest Woody Washington proponent of anybody.
Right.
But at some point, you got to make plays, bro. But they still run them out there. Like for instance, Jaden Davis leaving. I don't view that as a bad thing.
No, I love that the headlines like veteran defensive back leaving Oklahoma, and all true OU fans are thinking, thank goodness.
You know how I know?
Because that veteran dude is a part of those horrible defenses.
You know how I know the secondary hasn't been very good for a while at OU? The same guys are still there.
Yeah.
The good ones leave.
Yeah.
And go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's offensive line has kind of been that way as well. So we'll see what the true part of that is.
Anxious to see surely Ollie Gordon's going to get a ton of carries this year, right?
If he doesn't, they may burn down the stadium.
Right? He could be, I'm not going to go first team, maybe second team Big 12 guy if he can live up to his potential.
Oh, I mean, just let him.
But he's going to have.
I'm not so sure he didn't live up to his potential last year. He just didn't get a chance.
Enough chances.
Enough chances.
Yeah, what's that phrase? Let him cook. Yeah.
Just let him on the field.
Let him go. Did you hear what Cale Gundy said yesterday about Ollie Gordon? I got me when he was on with Mark.
Yeah.
Most of the noon hour he's on with them, and it got my eyebrow to rise up a little bit because they're kind of going down the Big 12, namely OU and OSU. Post-spring, OU spring game coming up this Saturday, OSU not having one. But the topic of Ollie Gordon came up, and Cale just went off. So, I love this guy. I love him. And he just went down all the intangibles when he was at OU, looking at him, and say he reminded me of a Rodney Anderson. He has a Rodney Anderson type of play, and he comes from a high school that all they do is run and the way he described it reminded me of Clinton, running up two tight ends and just I formation run right at you. And he went on and on and on, and Mark asked him, that he chose OSU over you guys? I said, we didn't offer. Mark's like, whoa. You want to dive into that? He's like, not really. Previous regime not letting him offer? I mean, he loved him enough, but he didn't offer?
What year?
Was he told not to offer him?
But
was the running back room too full? There was no room for him? There's a lot of questions.
Is he not the same class as Sawchuk and Javante Barnes?
I'd have to look.
They
it
were
up.
all
It
true freshmen last year, right?
Sounds about the right. Yeah.
I mean,
So
they were all
maybe-
true freshmen.
Yeah.
Maybe he liked him more than one of those two they end up signing.
Don't know. He just went on and on and on, didn't, and then asked, "Well, wow, he chose OSU over." He's like, "Oh, we didn't even offer him." I'm like, I nearly drove off the road. Like, you just went on. You compared him to Rodney Anderson, and you didn't offer him, but he didn't want to.
Sounds like he wanted to, and they wanted, and then Lincoln
the other-
wanted
yeah.
Barnes and Sawchuk,
Yeah.
which
And Kale is smart. It's like he just like, I'm not gonna say anything. That's gonna get out there. So I'm just gonna.
after watching those two, I mean, everyone.
But I get it.
I think
Yeah,
everyone's going to be happy with what they got.
Right. I think everyone's gonna be happy, but I just go back to the trying to get peek behind the curtain, trying to go back in time and go, what really happened there?
Talking FPI, just college football. Spring games have happened in some locales, happened this weekend in some others.
Will you watch Saturday? OU?
No. I just won't be around a TV. I might go.
Will you go back and
I'll try to
watch?
go back and at least find some highlights or whatever.
I mean,
and see who
I'm
was
not
what.
sitting down waving my OU flag, watching every snap, but I'm watching early to see contributors. Like,
Who do you wanna
new
see?
guys? Was it McCullough?
Yeah.
From Indiana. We'll see him. Obviously, I want to see Gabriel a little bit, and names are escaping me. New quarterback.
Jackson Arnold.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold. You know what's going to happen? He's going to look just a little better than Manning did.
Don't you kind
And
of hope that he looks like what Manning did that way? Because I think it's a pretty important year. Gabriel, it needs to be his team.
Sure.
This can't be the Rattler Williams situation
No.
of a couple of years ago. If you're looking for team success for Oklahoma,
I fear that's coming.
Phil Picciotti. Here's one. Another name, Gentry Williams. See, I think that's an important name, Gentry Williams. You know why? Because I think Gentry Williams is the reason why that Jaden Davis is leaving.
Ah.
Because by all accounts, that was sort of a 3-person race with those two, and then obviously Woody. And maybe Jaden Davis felt himself falling behind. Do you have any
I'm looking forward to
any interest in DJ Graham on the offensive side? After that one-handed snag?
Maybe a little. If he's not
Get you-
catching with one hand, contorting in the air while
Hopefully
doing
he's more
so,
open than that.
it's a disappointment already if he's not making those spectacular grabs. Is Bevel truly a tight end now?
No, that's because they don't have anybody to play tight end because they're all hurt.
Right. So he's just out there just filling a void for practice purposes.
Yeah, guys like Helms and Llewellyn, they've got a bunch of those guys that are hurt for the spring.
Yeah. And clearly looking forward to Trace Ford's future first team Big 12 performance coming up this season. I'm going to watch him.
Here's another one, Peyton Bowen. I think a lot of people are
course.
fired up to see Peyton Bowen in the back end, what he can do.
I think, will he be returning punts, kicks?
I saw a big old long list of guys that they've seen he was on it on one day.
I wonder if
guys
that's
were at
how we're
practice.
truly going to see a lot of them this season, or if he's going to be out there. Anyways, so that's the only reason I watch spring games, to see some of that. And then after about the first half, maybe even first quarter, are we even doing that this year? Quarters, halves, the scoring system's all jacked up, and then I just lose interest.
I don't know. Why not play Swass or somebody? I think that's the when you see this kind of stuff, the more that I give Hugh Freeze and attaboy for coming up with hey, let's play a small school within your state.
Not a fan of the scoring system. Just play it like a normal football game.
Just play a game.
Ones versus ones. Let's just do it normal game, so I don't have to keep up. Is that a point for the defense? I don't know. I'm not keeping up with that. I'm not going to. I never will.
All right, so back to the FPI quick.
Yeah.
Who do you think is too high? If you could single out a team or two, who would you say is too high?
Maybe OU at 11.
I think there's no doubt.
Yeah.
With what? But here's the thing about OU. I think they are too high at 11 with what they did last year. But I'll also say this: I think by the time the season is over, because that schedule is so bad, I think it's proper. It's going to be proper.
And do you think that you mentioned that part of the components of this is who's on the team. Do you think they're getting a lot of credit for how they had a good recruiting signing day, and then they made a big impact in the transfer portal, especially on the defensive side. So a lot of people are banking of defense can't be as bad as it was last year. Venables is clearly making efforts to try to be better.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Some of that.
I do, but I think that the schedule is bad.
How many times have we said that? It can't be as bad as last year, and then it's bad.
They can always be that bad.
Yeah.
But I think OU is too high. I think LSU is too high.
I'd agree with that.
At 4.
I'd agree with that.
And I think LSU's going to be pretty good. That first game, LSU and Florida State.
Yeah.
That's a fun one to get out.
Yeah.
See Sam, Texas too high every year.
Yeah, we've mentioned them.
Listen, who else is going to win the Big 12? Think back.
We've gone this whole hour and haven't even mentioned the national runner-up in TCU.
Where are they?
They're down there
17.
at 17.
See?
We'll see.
They lost a ton.
Who's too low? I'd say Tennessee at 12. I could see them around the 8 mark where Clemson's at. How about you? Who's too low?
Maybe Florida State at 14. Seems like they could be a top 10 team.
Maybe Utah at 15.
Utah, always too low. You know who Utah is? The Pac-12's version of Kansas State.
Yeah. And you know what?
Always good, but always overlooked.
Utah probably loves where they're at right there.
Utah, seems like they
continue to overlook us, USC, because we're just going to beat you again and again. And USC's right there at 7.
How about these first 2 non-conference games for Utah? Host Florida at Baylor.
Florida at what?
Host Florida at Baylor. That's the first 2.
Oh, that's Utah. I'm sorry.
That's Utah's first 2 games.
They still got Cam Rising, right?
Yes, he came back.
Yeah, that's going to be – Utah could be one of those dark horse teams in the Pac-12.
I mean, at what point do they have to quit being the dark horse and start being the favorite? That's what's crazy about it.
Well,
what about
yeah.
the team you liked last year in the Pac-12? When you look down below 20 at who can make some noise, Washington.
Yeah.
Penix Jr. back.
I loved Penix Jr. I think he's a dark horse Heisman candidate.
What about the Beavs of Oregon State? Can DJ figure out why, DJ Uiagalelei, can he figure it out? There's one team in the Big 12 that intrigues me. Tech. Absolutely. Texas Tech. They're at 22.
I'll tell you this. I think they finally found their coach.
Oh, absolutely. Joey
Right.
McGuire?
Yeah.
Oh.
They found
man,
their coach.
It's so smart of them to hire him because he is a legend in Texas high school football coaching. He knows everybody. And I think you're right. If there's somebody that can kind of break through that Texas A&M, and maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's not even getting those guys that those 2 are fighting over with all the big-time powers. It's knowing the coaches to get the guys that fit his system, a la what we see out of Mike Gundy at OSU. You guys fight over those prima donnas that want all the NIL money. I'm going to come out here and take this tough West Texas kid and turn him into a great player. I'm intrigued by Tech. Very, very intrigued by Texas Tech.
Me too.
As far as the Big 12 race. And then, I just got a text about Kansas, that quarterback, and the breakthrough that they made. Where are they? You see them? OSU's at 38.
I only got the top 25 up.
KU clear at 68. Boy, you'd think they'd be a little bit better than that. So, anyhow, we can keep talking about this. That's one thing that'll fire up the text line. Anytime we kind of run it, anytime we kind of come in and go, God, what is there to talk about? You just mentioned college football. Bam! Everybody's ready.
Well, just wait until the NBA playoffs are done. We're going to have a lot of time between now and Labor Day weekend to talk college football.
You know what happens a week from tonight?
The draft.
The NFL draft.
We need to jump on that. Yeah.
Still didn't get to.
We'll
Kuiper
get to
and
it.
McShay.
We got a week.
Oh, well.
What about 4 more mock drafts between now and then?
Yeah. All right, everybody have a great Thursday. This has been the Skinny on Sports right here on The Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.